Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Xah Talk Show. Today is September 3rd, Tuesday, 2 o'clock p.m. San Francisco time. And good morning, Bartholomew. So Bartholomew says today the topics is going to be number 10, functional programming style. Okay. Do I have that here? Okay. Right on time. Yes. Bartholomew, the non-mainstreamer. So function programming style. Okay. Functional programming style. What to cover about that topic? Okay, style. My style. Okay, yeah. There's quite a lot to say about that. Functional programming style, and my particular take on functional programming style. I have to think about like what to cover though, because offhand, offhand, yeah. So we can talk. Yeah, I think we go around about that topic, programming style in general, maybe. So who else is here? So where is Nitron, Bartholomew? I got 5 people watching. Good morning, everyone. Come in and type in the chat, say hi. So I try to be not stutter or ramble too much and focus on a topic. I don't know Haskell really. Okay, I don't know Haskell neither, but we don't need to know Haskell to do functional programming. Haskell, Haskell is the new kid in town, and every hot shot is like, oh, you if you don't know Haskell, then you are not a good programmer. That's fashion. That's like Perl in Perl days. It's a trend. But Haskell is actually a pretty old language. Good morning, Claudio Perez Gameo. Claudio is my longest fan. Thank you, Claudio, for coming. And Claudio, I need to send you my Emacs tutorial update. I have I have not been regularly sending it out. So I'm going to send that out. So Claudio, what's up? Oh my God, I need to cough. This is bad. I need to learn how to mute. Then I can hack the hell out of it. Then, hold on a second. Let's try. Okay, I'm back. So Claudio, no problem, thanks. So Claudio, so what do you do? Are you a professor or you are a programmer, right? I know. I'm pretty sure you are a programmer. Are you also a professor or something? And you are in where? In Germany or Spain? So anyway, we need to talk about functional programming. Yeah. So styles and programming styles. I need to think about like things I need to say. I want to say. Uh, do nothing. This is a Firefox bug. So by the way, let me mention this. So I have this Firefox plugin. What this plugin does is remove duplicate tabs. For example, typically I work in Emacs. Let me start start command log mod. Okay, so you can see my Emacs commands on the left window. And let's move these down. Oh, Claudio is based in Spain. So what time is it in Spain? So let's see. 11 o'clock p.m. around there. So we're gonna talk about, yeah. So Haskell is actually a pretty old language, because I've been reading the frequently asked questions of functional programming and functional programming languages on newsgroup back in 1998, even before 1998, before, so before you don't have Wikipedia. Wikipedia began in 2002, and that just it began 2002 or 3. Then it's not good until at least 5 years later. It becomes better and better actually, but in 2003 there's nothing. It copies my website. Yeah. How did I learn about Wikipedia the first time? Because back then, I look at all the people linking to my site. You have logs. I haven't been dealing with Apache logs for for 7 years. But anyway, back then, you check my log. I have analysis of my log. Okay, let me show you language. Let me show you my articles about that. One language to rule them all. To rule them all. Now this is about. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, too many articles there. One language to rule them all, or what language to use for find and replace. Okay, this is a long article. Yeah, so you see, back to shell bag. After you learn Perl, you are a master of Perl, and you also learn Python. But it turns out, there are situations you just go back to shell bag, shell, Unix shell bag, because I analyzed the situation. I think it actually uh, uh, it's uh, okay. Let me talk about this. Good morning, Iris. So you see, so back again. Anyway, let me keep on track of what I'm talking about. So hold on a second. Functional programming style, okay, and programming style in general, okay. Find something to talk about that, and Apache logs, okay, and one language to rule them all, and Haskell, yeah, Haskell, the age of Haskell, or Haskell newsgroups, newsgroups, FAQ on functional programming. Okay, that's some of the topics we are talking about. So Apache logs. So yeah, so back then, yeah, the first time I found Wikipedia. So first time found Wikipedia. So the first time I found Wikipedia because it links to my website. So what website is this one? This is the most popular back then. On my website, this project, a visual dictionary of special plane curves. This is the most popular page of my web page from 1997 to 2008. Back then you don't have that many internet, so Wikipedia copied my conic sections. Well, yeah, they copy and they say, oh, source, they rephrase, things like that. That's the first time I found about Wikipedia. So that's one thing. And this is visual dictionary of special plane curves, math, very interesting. So if you are studying calculus, if you are into math, this is worth checking out. Although it haven't been updated for over 10 years. One of my plans is to replace all this by JavaScript. Right now it's not. You see these animations, it's in GIF. I convert, before that it was in QuickTime. QuickTime is Apple's video technology, the first video technology that made video popular is from Apple. The technology called QuickTime. So QuickTime is the most popular video technology from 1990s to 2000s. 2000 throughout. Not today. Today is So Apple created QuickTime. So this is create so I generated this animation back in 1995. But video technology is such that you have the format of the file, kind of a meta wrapper container format. Then you have what's called codec. Codec is a specific way to encode animation. So you have different codecs, and they have different properties. Some, for example, these kind of images that's computer generated, just figures, plain figures and stuff. There is one codec that's best for these, meaning smallest size and the most clarity, no fuzziness, no degradation. So that's one codec. And there's other. For example, today you have MP4, you have uh, you have several, and browsers doesn't support. Apple Safari support one, Chrome support this that, Firefox support things like that. So anyway, and this codec I was using is deprecated so long ago, because this is created in 1995. So about 5 years ago, I converted all these QuickTime movies to GIF animation. So that's why that's what you see. These are GIF animations. So you can see these are generating Ellipse. You know what it is, Ellipse. The mathematical details is extremely interesting. I'm not going to go over it, but you might check it out if you are into math. And you can see from these animations, there are several ways to what they say construct Ellipse. Uh, put it in another way. This is how you can actually draw as a draftsman. You can actually draw Ellipse correctly, accurately. How can you draw that? Basically, they rely on mathematical properties of the ellipse. And this animation, you can see how it is generated if you actually look at it, study it, just look at it and think for 5 minutes. You'll see how to actually create a ellipse. So that's, and this here is another one. That is why all these curves are extremely interesting. For this one, this one is called Archimedes tremor. Okay, this mechanism where you have a bar sliding on two different bars. This mechanism is called Archimedes tremor, and it's a mechanical engineering device. So, for example, it converts rectilinear motion to circular motion. Okay, uh, and uh, and so if you have this Archimedes tremor and you put a point on the bar and you go about sliding it, that point will trace out a ellipse. So again, this is true because the fundamentally because the properties of the ellipse, there are so many properties, extremely interesting. And for example, this one shows that this one, for example, you can. Oh, there are so many. You see, here is another way to generate ellipse. Now, when you look at these ellipses pictures, you might think, oh, they are just a oval shape. Not so. See, in math, everything is very precise. You don't just draw an oval and call it ellipse. For it to be ellipse, it has to follow very definite formulas. It's not any shape like oval. It's just ellipse. For example, another way to put it is that ellipse is the result of these formulas or equations. For example, this is the most popular. This is algebraic equation, but you also have parametric formula. This one, b sine t, then y equals to b sine t, and x equals to b x equals to cosine b cosine t, and y equals to a sine t. That's how you generate a ellipse by this is called parametric equation or parametric formula. So anyway, that's these animations. Also, if you have a cylinder and you just slice it, that shape that shape is actually Ellipse. This is very interesting. And also, and there is a paradox. I'm not sure I should go into explaining that. So we are digressing. Should I? Let me know. Okay. Or let's go back because we have several levels. We already went into different topics. So that's some of the interesting math things. So that's my website. Oh, we were talking about codec, QuickTime movie formats. So let's write it down. QuickTime, Apple's QuickTime that made digital video popular. Okay, and video has container formats and codec. Codec is extremely complex. At one time I looked into, like 10 years ago, I studied all the codecs. Not in detail. I mean, I just studied what are the formats out there. And they change all the time. That's one of the technology that changes every 3 years, every 5 years. New ones come in replacing the old one. The new ones are much better and stuff. Okay, guys, comments. Okay, comment. And okay, codec. So we were talking about. Let's get back to our topic. Okay, so let's copy that. Ellipse. So we talked about that. Let's previous page. Oh, I want to go to. So what was the topic before? Apple's QuickTime. Yeah, the first time I found Wikipedia is because they linked to my conic sections page. And okay, about Wikipedia, so how did I find out who linked to my website? Because there's Apache logs. So I've been doing Apache logs for over 10 years, and then you got this article. Let me show you what that is about. So close that, show in browser, and one language to rule them all. So what happened with this shell bag, of code, is that you have, you use. So you have Apache log. What Apache log is just lines. Each line is a hit. It is so-called hit, meaning someone get a file or an image or a CSS file, any of that. It's a hit. So for example, in this page is got the text file, the HTML file. That's one hit. Then it's got HTTP. It's got CSS, for example. Let me show you. So this is the source code. You can see here is a CSS file. You can open the CSS file. That's CSS file. So if you visit this page, the Apache log will log, this file path. This file path. It will also log the CSS file path because it is sent it to your browser. But that's it for this page because there's no images. But otherwise, if you have images, then that's also another log entry. So when you visit a page, usually there are 10 or 20 hits lines in Apache log. So typically in a day you have millions of lines. So when you want to do statistics, I mean you want to find out who visited your site, things like that. You can, you have to analyze or process the log. So one way to do that very basic, poor man's way is to use the Unix 2 shell bags. So you cat the file, you grab it, then you grab something else, then grab something else that's not there, then save it to a file. So let me show you this line. Okay, that's typical Unix stuff. Let's go back here. So guys, comments. Okay, comment. So Ira Squasha says, you can show the request opening developer tools in the browser. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. But that's not for the server. I mean, I cannot use that to see who visits my website. But yeah, I think I know what you mean. But I mean, if you are studying HTTP protocol, you can see the request headers and stuff in the browser console. I have a tutorial on that, of course. But yeah, why not? Yeah, let me show it. Um, okay, so this would be JavaScript. You go to so buy my tutorials. I'm telling you guys, all you guys and all the people watching out there. That's I got the information here. So here's JavaScript in depth DOM. Uh, for example, there's a article on cookies. What does cookie means? Cookie is one of the worst technology, one of the biggest hack, and the biggest hack that won't die. It's been 25 years now, and you see it's extremely inefficient. It's very bad, but it's kind of just keep going on. It won't die. So here's the technical details about cookie and HTTP protocol headers. Um, so let me type that JavaScript in depth. I'll close that. Okay, that's too big. Somewhat larger, and make this bash. Okay, you see this is bash code. Okay, I mean this is emacs stuff. So I can color it, then also linkify it, show in browser. So you see that, and we want to talk about bash. Well, cookie. Oh, HTTP protocols. Okay, that is here. So that's tutorial on HTTP protocols, and you can see how to use the browser to get the response header and request header and so on. Okay, so back to the shell thing. One language to root them all. So I got this shell thing. You can see in browser. You see. So you cut a file. You grep for 200. 200 means success. The file transfer is success. So you only grep those lines. Then you grep for get, because some other request is like what's the other one, post. You don't want that. You just want people who visit your site. You don't want people who trying to forms, fill out a form or stuff. So you grep for get, then you grep -v capital E to filter out these things. These things are bots. Scoutjet.com, yahoo.com, google.com bot, msm.com. This is old. This you can see those names, msm, yahoo. Those are in 2008. So okay, so in this shell 2 bag is in 2008. So you start to see history. Scoutnet.com. I don't know. I forgot what that is, but that's some of the search engine bots. So you filter out bots, then you save into a file. Okay, then what do you do? Then you take that file. Okay, for example, this line. What does this line do? So you take the input file. You cut is a tool that you want to only get a column. So you want to get the 6th column. Then you sort it. Then you remove duplicate. Then you sort it again. Then save it. Okay, so the result is all agents. Agents is an idiotic jargon from these hacker types. What does agent mean? Agent means just browser. Okay, browser. But you have to call it agent. Otherwise, you are idiot. Okay, you have to. It's like among hackers, you have to. Otherwise, everyone will say, "Oh, that guy is an idiot." Fucking idiots. These programmer hacker types, Unix. So agents, very bad terminology. The worst jargon. Okay, so there's a question, what is a good jargon? That's science. Science. That's a you approach that topic from a scientific perspective. So what are the properties of jargon? You want it to be communicative. You want to be not opaque. You want to be easy to understand. Communicative. And you want short is better than long. Things like that. How you judge a jargon. So for example, a jargon, opaque jargon like agents, is a jargon such that when I mention the word, if you don't, you wouldn't understand it unless you've studied it. But on the other hand, if I say browser, then you understand it right away. Anyone, understand it right away. Then that's a good jargon. Of course, there are other things. For example, people would, these hacker types, they will say, "Oh, but agent has more generic, broad meaning." Those are idiots. Okay, I'm not going to go into the jargons. What makes a great jargon? The science of jargons, the science of communication, the science of the neuroscience of human recognizance abilities. That's a science. That's actually a branch of science. How you perceive, how you learn. That's a thing. So I have a section about jargons. This section, jargons of software industry. When programmers use jargons such as git directed acyclic graph, haskell monad, http idiom potency, Lisp homoiconicity, they don't know which side is mouth, which side is ass. That's programmers. That's the hacker types, the Unix philosophy type of people. They love that. They always use these idiotic, opaque, doesn't make sense jargons. There's also a criteria. Like, when does a jargon? I mean, we talked about a little bit about what makes a jargon good. Okay, what are good jargons? What are bad? This is critical because in science, for example, rocket science, you have tons of jargons, all in math, but you need to have jargons that people understand, that have good properties, things like that. Just like programming code syntax, there's a science to it. Not exact science, but there is aspect. It's not whatever you say. It's not whatever sounds good or whatever is pun. The grep, guoc, Unix, fox. So anyway, that's about the science of jargons. Then there's another aspect about, for example, what makes a jargon popular. This is related to what makes something go viral. Everyone is interested in that today. On Reddit, on Twitter, on social networks, in the marketing departments from Google. They all want to know what makes something go viral because that benefits you. When you become famous, that benefits you. So what makes so back to the jargon. So what there's a thing you can say. What makes a jargon popular among these these hacker types? Those people who love Unix philosophy, Linux. These hacker types. What makes it popular? There's one thing. That is, if whatever the jargon, the word is hard to understand and has some kind of a pun, that makes it popular. Okay, that is one of the things. For example, I can give you so many examples. Monad. Okay, GNU. What does GNU stand for? GNU is not Unix. It's a recursive acronym. Post the fact, in English, in literature, there's no such fucking thing. But the programmer idiots, the GNU, and a lot, GNU, they invented this concept of recursive acronym. So whenever they say they expand GNU, they'll say, "Oh, by the way, that's a recursive acronym." And all the idiots, all the hacker idiots, oh my God, that's so deep. It doesn't exist. It's just created by these hacker idiots. Monad, GNU. There's so many. Okay, so I got a list here. List comprehension, lambda. repo, closure, currying, tail recursion, asynchronous. Okay, asynchronous is not exactly that thing, but anyway. So tail recursion. Then what are the others? Yeah, basically the top those. So each one, I actually explain them what they mean and why and why and that. So jargons is a great topic. In properly speaking, it's part of linguistics when you study linguistics with respect to communication. Uh, there's a big thing about jargons, and also many other jargons. Regular expression, lexical. What does lexical mean? It's very uh, it has many meanings, and the Lispers has hygienic macro, and the jargon data type oftentimes very confusing because data type on one hand is a structure, it's a data structure. On the other hand, it's one of the type of a programming language. So it can mean both things, depending on the context. But usually you get confused. Usually, so typically, usually you don't want a jargon that means many things. When you need a concept that needs a name, you don't want it. You don't want to pick a word that has many meanings. Usually, okay, the unique meaning is the best. For example, then you have object. Okay, object is the ubiquitous jargon. Every language has got object. Okay, so that's an example where a word has say 10,000 meanings. That's not a good jargon. But object also. For example, I have this article: the meaning of object in computer languages. Object in Java means one thing. Okay, in fact, the Java language do not have the technically do not have the concept of object. Now correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, if you are a Java programmer for 10 years, I think I'm pretty sure that Java language actually there is no technical definition of object. There is technical. Like we are talking about the language spec. So what is there? There is reference, okay, but there's no object, and there is anyway. I may be incorrect, but anyway. So I forgot, what I wrote there. So in Python, class object means entirely different thing than the Java, okay. Then most interestingly, in JavaScript, it means something else entirely. Do I have a JavaScript here? JavaScript, yeah, JavaScript object. So what's JavaScript object? Basically, it's a hash table. Okay, it's like a dictionary with inheritance mechanism. It's entirely different from Python or Java. And Lisp also, if you read Emacs Lisp manual, okay, it also has Lisp object. There's the object, this. And this object is again entirely different from all the others. What is this object? This object is basically a binary blob. That is, when you have Lisp code, you run it, whether interpreter or compiler, you would rerun it. That code expression becomes the object. Okay, any expression, it just becomes a Lisp object. So in Lisp object is simply just a whatever that is become compiled. It's just a you can think of it as a binary blob. It's whatever unit of expression that has been compiled. Then you just call it object. It has nothing to do with OOP, or classes or inheritance. Nothing. Everything is object. Every expression becomes object. Okay, that's Lisp object. And not and C language also has object. I don't know C. So someone when I was talking about this, someone wrote to me, and this guy I trust. I talked about him before. He's a old Asian Emacs user, Nick O'Clock. If you search his name and search my name, you'll find I talk about him. I've talked about him on video before. But anyway, he's a expert master C programmer. He code. I think this is public information because we talked on Google Plus. So he works for Oracle in UK. He lives in UK, and he's an expert. He's one of the great experts I respect. So whenever he says something, I listen and learn things. Anyway, so so he explains what is object in C. So anyway, that's about object, the jargon. So we're talking about several digressions and things. Recursive digression. So we're talking about software jargons of software industry. And now let's go back to one level up. We are talking about these shellbacks. These shellbacks. Look at this one. Upon referentials. Yeah, even Upon linked to my website. I think maybe I linked to my website, or I forgot. I don't remember the details. Oh, and Stumble. Do you guys remember Stumble? Uh, Guys, do you guys remember Stumble? Stumble is this website. It's kind of like Reddit. No, not like Reddit. There's another one before that. It's a link bookmark. Basically, it's a website where you put all your bookmarks there. StumbleUpon, yes, that's StumbleUpon. So that's from you. So I think they are still around, right? I haven't seen that website for 10 years, over 10 years. I haven't visited. So a lot of people, stumble upon. They link to my website. But there's another one before stumble upon. There's a link. They closed down. Then they sold to Yahoo, I think. Then Yahoo fucked it up. Then he shut it down. Then the original guys bought it back, but it never become popular. I don't think so. Do you guys remember? This is around 2004. Early 2000s. Yeah, there's a popular website that gather. It's like you go there and put your interesting bookmarks there. Link are us. Wait, link are us. Does that ring a bell? Link, like they delirious. There it is, delirious. This is an era where people use clever domain names. I believe it's spelled like this. Let me type it. Okay, DEL. First, okay, DELIRIOUS, something like that. So DELIROU.S, something like that. Okay, so let's search, see what we find. Delicious. Okay, I got mixed up with delirious. Let's go delirious. DELICIOUS. Okay, now you need to put the dot in proper places. Delicious. Is that just that? Okay. I hate this AT&T, my internet provider. Okay, let's go to something. Go to DuckDuckGo and paste here. So Claudio, do you have a question for me or anything? Because like if you have any questions for me, then I can answer it now. Because I don't know much about you, but I do know you for a long time on, I think, on Twitter or email. So okay, we digressed so much that we did not begin to talk about programming styles. But I think Bartholomew is still happy about that. That's okay. Um, so so we yeah well so anyway, so back to this. So what about this shellback? So I started to do this to process my Apache log. And this way it turns out very convenient, very convenient. But then I start to wonder. You see, here's the question. You see, because in my mind, even this is back 2008. Back then, even then, we programmers have a thought that we want the best language, one language to rule them all. And I've been programming Perl for over 4 years, from 1998 and so on. and so I know Perl well. And my opinion back then was that Perl should replace all these fucking Unix packages. The shell, awk, grep. Replace them all. Like remove them from Linux, from Unix. Okay, Linux back then, you still say Unix. You don't say Linux. Okay, so remove them all these shell back tools, because you don't need it. Perl replace them, and you have one single language, more powerful, more coherent. Okay, that was my thought. But every time, the Linux people, these Unix philosophy people, every decision, when there's a decision, everything they do, they don't agree with the one I have. Okay, they don't like that. They don't do that. Uh, so 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 anyway, that never happened. Also, there's so many history, and the shell becomes ash because in order for Linux to start up quickly, you need ash. My roommate is back or something. Um, anyway, so my thinking was, so I started to write these shellbacks to process my Apache log. But I wonder, so I wonder, why am I writing all these lines of idiotic shell grab stuff line by line? Why can't I just, what happens to the idea like that? Since I'm proponent, Perl I know so well, why not write the whole thing in Perl? Because usually we programmers, those of us who like languages a lot, we have the idea, we just want one generic language. What's the best generic purpose language? And so I think I thought about this issue. It turns out doing this is actually the best way. Just line by line to get what I want. This is actually the best way. But you see, but why not convert it to Perl? I can, of course, I can, but it's gonna be exactly just like the shell, because you don't write some kind of a library or functions. You don't do that. You actually just you want the line by line kind of thing. Each line just do one thing. So if yes, I can convert this whole lines to Perl, but it's basically just this in Perl clothing. That's all. It's each line by line. So that's I found that interesting. That's So Claudio says, what's your preferred best generic programming language? Um, well, I right now for industrial coding, that probably would be Golang. Um, so Golang, yeah, I talked about that a few times in my videos. Uh, let's see, let's just quickly show that. Language tutorials, yeah, Golang for industrial coding. Okay, but otherwise my favorite language is still Mathematica. So Golang is here. Otherwise my favorite language is Mathematica, this glorious, beautiful, hyperbolic, this is so-called hyperbolic dodecahedron. Yeah, hyperbolic dodecahedron. Okay, this is Mathematica logo for Mathematica version uh, 2, and it's my favorite Mathematica logo. This is back in 1995 also. And by the way, there's a quote from Rich Hickey, the creator of Clojure. He says, every developer should buy a copy of Mathematica because it will expand your mind. That is how great Mathematica is. So this is my favorite language. It's a symbolic computer algebra system with symbolic pattern matching, and essentially it's a Lisp. It's kind of, some people say the Lisp done right. Okay, when I mentioned this, I hate so much of the Lisp phonetics, because because they have a good language, but they don't, the modern Lispers, let's say since 1990s, so all the Lisp, it's a big thing. I fight with the Lisp phonetics. They call me a troll. And every way that Lisp is good for. They don't understand it. They don't get they don't get the Lisp phonetics. Fuck, especially the common Lispers. I so much despise the common Lispers. I mean, well, that's a lot, to talk about Lisp. Anyway, Golang. I did a video last week, 10 days ago, on Lisp. Several of them, good ones, pretty good ones. So if you guys like to check it out. Um, oh, my Mathematica tutorial. Actually, I don't really have that much. I mean, I don't really have Mathematica tutorial. What I have instead is some kind of essay, on the fly, one or two, on the fly. You could learn something from it, but it's not like a coherent tutorial to get deep into Mathematica. I don't have that. Yeah. So you have Mathematica. You use Mathematica, right? So we got digressed so much. Let's finish that. So this article we finished talking about, about the question about the paradox of one language to rule them all. Um, Now let's go back to the meaning of object in programming languages, jargons of software industry, HTTP protocol, get cookies, set cookies, and the shell, and Visual Dictionary with special plain curves, one language to rule them all, yeah, and okay, Apple QuickTime, okay, and Haskell. Okay, Haskell. Haskell is a old language because back in 1998, you don't have Wikipedia, so you have what's called newsgroups. Newsgroup is kind of like a forum, like a Reddit. You go there, talk to people. Newsgroup and mailing lists, and there are a lot of info. There are so much great info because, for example, there's a newsgroup for functional programming, and then you have this thing called FAQ. Okay, which stand for frequently asked questions. Back then, FAQ is is like today's Wikipedia. Like today, every time you have a question, you go to Wikipedia. Back then, everything is FAQ. There are hundreds or maybe thousands of FAQ. If you search FAQ archive, newsgroup FAQ archive, you can still find them. Uh, Newsgroup FAQ archive, or just search for Wikipedia, then you'll find links. They'll tell you what it is about. So here is this. Yeah, this website is old. It's like at least 15 years old. Usenet FAQ archive. So you have tons of these FAQs. These are created by people, like us. We go there because some questions like which one, what, for example, what functional programming languages are out there. People want to know. So people started to, I know something. I say, oh, Mathematica. Then someone say, oh, there's Haskell. Then someone say there's Clean. Yeah, so eventually you got the answer, proper, correct answer, and then people start to archive it. So all these are the called. So that's why they are called frequently asked questions. They are created by people, typically experts. Those are fantastic, and the subject matter ranges from programming languages. For example, there's one functional programming. Let's try to search it. Functional programming. There it is. Okay, the art. Fuck the art of Unix programming. That's from ESR. Um, okay, it should be on the first page. It's not showing up. Because this gets old, they bit rot. I'm supposing they bit rot, and you are not sure. For example, if you are not sure if you click on something that's actually the original, because there's a lot. You see, I have ads turned off. Let's try if they have ads. Maybe they are ad ridden. Yeah, well, there is ad. There it is. Anyway, then it's, you see, this search is not FAQ anymore. It goes to other websites. Money is talking here. Hey, I pay you $100 a week. You put my links here. Fuck. And fuck open source. Open source made this happen. Anyway, so there's a functional programming FAQ. Okay, 25 years ago. So Haskell is pretty old. It became popular in 2008 or so. Okay, this new generation of programmers, they think they think that's the best. Anyway, Haskell. So back to, so that's one language to rule them all. So we are getting getting back to our original topic, Apache logs. Okay, programming style. Okay, maybe we can start to talk. We can begin talking about programming styles and functional programming styles right now. Let's see. It's already 15 minutes. Okay, let me read the comments and it's. Okay, so Iris Garcia says, how can you hate Unix that much and use Mac OS X, which is Linux under the hood? That is an FAQ. There are two parts of it. The first part is, how can you hate Unix so much and love Mac? Okay, it's intertwined. Two questions. Okay, one question is about me. So why do I use Mac? Basically, why do I use Mac? The other question that's embedded in that sentence is, Mac OS X is a Unix. Okay, let me tell you, that is a myth. That is one of the Unix philosophy. Unix people love us because, you see, this is common. This is frequently seen behavior. Okay, for okay, let's see. It is so common. I have essays about this. I have tens of essays about this because Unix people, for example, when they see Mac, for example, if you are open source, okay, if you are a free software foundation fanatic, then Mac is no good. No, don't never use a Mac. But meanwhile, you are also typically a Unix lover, Linux lover, right? Then when you see a Mac, oh yeah, Linux is so great. Unix is so secure. It's the most powerful. Even the Apple Mac, they put Unix in the Mac. Even the Mac adopted Unix. You see, it's kind of like biased because let me, for example, in contrast, let me say another thing. X11. Okay. Let me find the article. Let me see how can I find the article. Xah X11. Let's see. How to start X11. That's one of the esoteric Unix fuck. Okay, so let's see Xah Unix pestilence. Okay, let me give you a contrast to the Mac OS is great because even the Macs adopted Unix. Okay, so here the Unix pestilence. This is a very famous book back in 1990s. Very famous. It's Unix haters book. Okay, you have to read it. Anyway. So this book, they criticize Unix in many ways, and the Unix haters book, there's one chapter called X11 written by Don Hopkins. Okay, let's see if I can find it. X11. Okay, so not there. Let's see. Okay, let me just say it. So there's a chapter on X11, and and other things on tar. Unix has problems on tar, on PS. The the process PS tool, especially on Solaris, and it truncates your lines. They fucking truncate your lines silently because Unix. That's what Unix people do. Unix philosophy. Keep it simple. So if the line is too long, you just silently cut it off after 80 characters. Fuck Unix, and that's part of the Unix philosophy. So everything if you have a file name that's more than 200 characters, then you tar it, then you untar. Your line is gone. Your file name is truncated. That's Unix. That's the traditional Unix for over 10 years. It's been 20 years. It's like that. Fuck the Unix. And I have detailed documentation on all these I just mentioned. All the truncating of tar, the truncating of lines on PS, on Solaris especially, and the extremely fucked up the optional argument syntax for PS. For example, PS on BSD Unix, you do PSAUW. It's like it's like part of my muscle memory now. Even I haven't typed it for 20 years. PSAUWX WWX. Okay, that's on Solaris Unix. You type that to get all the processes, including root and stuff. I forgot exactly, but anyway, that's what you type on HPUX or the AT&T Unix. You do PS dash EF. Okay, that's what I recall. And what about Linux? They merged. Okay, you see this one you don't put the dash, but this one you do. But on Linux today they are merged. So you try to do man PS. Okay, actually we can do it here. Magnify. Let's see, man PS. Okay, you see, you can start to read it, but actually let's do it in emacs because we live in emacs. So PS. Okay, there it is. PS. PS blah 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 blah. This synopsis, my ass. This incomprehensible. Nobody read it. Synopsis. Okay, so description. The PS utility displays a header line followed by lines containing information about all of your processes that have controlling terminals. Then look at this paragraph. A different set of processes can be selected for display by using any combination of -a -g capital G lowercase g -pt stuff. Okay, so this is actually BSD. Wait, yeah, this is BSD. Let's see. Yeah, this is BSD PS. Okay, this is not the Linux PS. If you are on a Linux box, type it. PS. Man PS. They start to explain the merge. All the the BSD and AT&T Unix command options. It's like convoluted, incomprehensible. Fuck. That's Unix. This is the beauty of Unix philosophy. Does it do one thing well? No. Every tool does grep do grep well? No. Does find the find and xarg do they do one thing well? No. Because if they do one thing well, then you don't need the grep -r. What you need R for? Recursive, going into the directory. You don't need it because you should use grep with a combination of find. Let's do one thing well. You combine them. But most of the time, every tool, almost every single one of the Unix command line, they do not do one thing well. And in fact, they cannot, something they simply cannot do, even when it's typical needed. That is why in Unix then you have the GNU versions, the BSD versions, the AT&T version. Well, the reason they are BSD and AT&T because there's a commercial split. Anyway, then you have the GNU versions, which is usually entirely different from the BSD, okay? Because GNU version, they try to improve it. Then the GNU people start to invent, dash dash. For example, you can start Emacs by dash dash no dash init. Yeah, I think that's right. You can, GNU Free Software Foundation. They invented the dash dash notation. The reason is that so that it's more readable. Okay. Anyway, it's an entire mess because then when you have dash dash, then some options has dash dash version, some doesn't, and some only, yeah. So as opposed to every dash dash two dash option has a corresponding one dash option. If that's the way, then it's simpler because but that's not the case. But anyway, so and of course the Linux people, the BSD, the many branches, the sect of the Unix scan, they disagree. So they don't follow the GNU. They, for example, Linus, the guy who created Linus says, they have an article on programming style, C for the Linux kernel. They say, about programming style, first thing is to get a copy of the GNU C coding style and and take a lighter and burn it. That's what Linus said. Do you guys remember? Uh, let's try to search that. That's fun. Linus C programming C style guide. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can still find that. The social justice has taken over, and things may change. They are not what they used to be. So let's see. Right, let's search for burn. There it is. Okay. First off, I would suggest printing out a copy of the GNU coding standards and not read it. Burn them. It's a great symbolic gesture. Okay, these hacker types, they disagree. Uh, this is written by Linus. Yeah, he is one of the mouthy chat. One of the talkative, dramatic programmers. But I think he's a good guy. Okay. Now his stuff doesn't interest me. He's a rather typical of the Unix type people. They like C, they like C++, they like the kernel stuff. They like to talk about memories, references, pointers. They like those things. On the other hand, they never ever talk about, for example, symbolic computation, proof systems, correctness, the theoretical computer science. They never talk about those things. You see, and math. They never they tell you something about math. You see, so here is a different style of personality, kind of the style of programmers. But these are the Unix type. I despise them. But Linus, but I respect. I like his personality. He's famous for swearing all the time, abrasive. I like him. Fuck those people who doesn't support him. Anyway, so that's Linus, on the program on the programming style. So okay, so that's another tangent. So back then, so let's go back to the previous topic. We were talking about Unix options, and we were talking about. Okay, once I didn't write it down, I forgot what became that topic. Actually, so I need to read. I guess I need to read comments. So hold on a second. How long I've been talking? Okay, so let me take a break. Read the comments, and so why are we talking about options? Oh, okay? So that's because PS, the big flame war, man. PS, okay. Man, PS and Unix philosophy, okay. Oh yeah, oh I remember Unix philosophy. We need to finish this topic. This is critical. Unix philosophy, the Mac OS thing. Okay, so let's go back to this page. Okay, Unix philosophy. I mean the Unix pestilence. Okay, so there is this book. I mean, so I created. So there are many problems of Unix, right? I criticize, and they call me a troll. I've been fighting with them for over 10 years, mostly in 2000s. And so every time when you criticize Unix, for example, in this book, now there's a famous chapter about X11, which is the worst technology, the worst hack in the universe, in the history of programming. What is the worst hack? X11. Um, Written by Don Hopkins. Okay, Unix pestilence quotations. Let me see if I can find it. X11. Okay, I actually wrote about it here. So let me read it. When Unix problem is described, for example, in the Unix Haters Handbook, then the Unix Linux phonetics reaction are often like this. Well, that's not Unix, that's X11. Okay. Oh, that's not Unix, it's just the file system. You should switch to a better file system. Okay. Or, oh, that's not Unix, that's shell. Nobody is forcing you to use TCSH. Okay, use ZSH. Okay, these are the typical Unix people, Unix phonetics, their reactions when some part of Unix is criticized. Okay, then another one. You idiot! The problem you describe is tar. Just change to GNU tar. Okay. Then another one. Well, good point, but that's not Unix at fault. It's the Mach kernel. The Mach kernel. Okay. So you see. So what is Unix? That is the question. You see, when people, when Unix, when Linux, Unix fanatics, they see Mac, they are thinking automatically is, oh, Unix is so great, even Apple have to adopt it. Okay, that's. But when Unix is criticized, uh, let me. I'm trying to pinpoint a good example that contrasts that. Uh, so anyway, so I guess you get the point. When people criticize X11, or this tar or this shell or bash, they say, oh, that's not Unix, that's not Linux. Okay, Unix is a kernel. Okay. Then there's a this distinction between the kernel and whatever Unix tool bags on top, file systems, the shell, the X11 Windows systems, then they say, oh, those are not Unix at all. Things like that. So this happens not just to Unix people. I mean, as I talked before, it happens to everyone. Your biases, your whatever you like, you tend to do that unconsciously. That's a critical thing. Unconsciously, when you see a Mac, oh yeah, even Mac, Apple has to adopt Unix. But when you see, when you read this book, I've talked to Unix, argued with them for over 10 years. Sometimes you read a blog, and after Linux phonetics, Unix phonetics, they read this, they blog about, oh, today I came across this book. And they write a blog, and then they say, oh yeah, but that's all correct, but actually many things in X11 today has improved. So, and also, by the way, X11 is not Unix. They honestly, you know um, you know that's their opinion. So now it's not all Unix. Then you go to slash over slash Hacker News Reddit, the Unix forums. Then you say, oh, Unix is the greatest because X11, because it's got X11. X11 is the system that, the windowing system that, they got slogans, I forgot what, but it's supposed to be network based, the greatest OS agnostic windowing system crap. It's the worst hack in the universe. You guys should read that article. Okay, Don Hopkins. He's got it on his website. Don Hopkins. He started to following me on Twitter a few months ago, but I know him. I wrote emails with him 10 years ago, longer than that. Oh yeah, so he started to put this 30 years old article on Medium, so you should check it out. The X Windows disaster. Yeah, that's the title. And today, it's been 30 years now. 30, more than 30 years. But anyway, since Linux came up, it's been 30 years. And today, as you know, the Linux people, they are all trying to replace X11. Now people understand how sucky X11 is. But they are trying to replace it, but they can't because there's a whole baggage of compatibility. You can't just replace it. It's a problem. It's a problem 30 years ago. It's a fucking problem 30 years ago. But the Linux fanatics, the Unix fanatics, the Unix philosophy, fuck. They think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's my Unix hatred. That's how deep, because that's how deep I hate the Unix, the Unix philosophy. Fuck. There's no basis, scientific basis whatsoever. It is just a code. It's a code. So okay, so now I read the comments, and that's it for today. I think. I don't know if I did good or bad. It's all rant, and that's kind of part of Xah Talk Show. So maybe that's on the spot. You like it, or maybe you don't. So Seema says, is it better to call these functions many times, or should the output go into a var? Using that inside non-interactive functions. That depends, I guess. In general, it's better to put into a var. You don't want to call a function many times. Yeah, because that's much slower. Much slower. Maybe I don't know exactly how much, but let's say maybe 5 times, 10 times slower. Yeah, if it's proper, if you have a choice, like you are not sure, just put everything into a var, save it as a var, then do whatever. Don't call a function many times. So Iris says, but multiple browser can use the same agent. What do you mean? Yeah, sometimes I'm ranting and flaming, so it's not. You don't take it for granted. So there are some technical details, but in general, my stance, my opinion on jargons, I stand by that. You shouldn't call it agent. There's no reason. There's no good reason. Just call it browser. Okay. Like typical, the argument against that is that, oh, but some agents are not browser, but because this or that, email, or some other things, or phone or whatever. Yeah, but people understand. Okay, just say, oh, browser, or the browsing app. Just say browsing app. Okay, that is, you see, that's communicative. People understand. You say agent, agent. People don't know what the fuck is agent. You mean FBI agent, but precisely, why people love the agent jargon so much, from these hacker types, precisely because it's difficult to understand. That is the reason. That is precisely the reason. Then it becomes more hacker types, or college student who think they are hotshot. They will use that phrase because it's a part of human communication. It's a behavior. Then you use it because it signifies that you are in group, that you have read stuff. It signifies to whoever you are. That's how community grows. That's part of humanity. Once you realize that, but you also anyway. So you have to speak Latin to understand jargons. I would imagine there is an en island in Chinese. Either English equals island. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. So Andre says, "Good morning, Andre. Can you make a video about audiomotion.js?" No, I don't know nothing about it. I'm the guy who don't know nothing about JavaScript framework or libraries. I tend to, but I know the JavaScript language or the DOM very well, but I don't know about all these libraries. High resolution real time spectrum analyzer. Oh, that seems very interesting and useful. And every time I try to learn them, it's a headache because then the npm. Okay, yeah, yeah. For example, this looks interesting to me, so I try to use it or learn it. First step is npm. Then you try to install it, download it. And then this library actually download 100 other libraries. Fuck, I don't want that. Immediately, I don't. It's a problem. I don't want to use it ever. That's the case. JavaScript frameworks, these library JavaScript communities like that. You download the thing, it download literally. I'm not exaggerating. Some of them, many of them, download 100 other libraries, and some of these libraries are 5 lines. For example, there is a library of one function, 5 lines to trim string. This is the space of JavaScript community. They have reasons, of course, but in general, my opinion of them is no good. So Andre says a logarithmic frequency spectrum analyzer made in JavaScript. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know anything about it, and also I don't actually know much about the math of spectrum, analysis. I don't know much about that. Peja says, "What do I eat daily?" Well, now I'm living with roommates and they work in restaurants, so sometimes they bring me Chinese food, and they cook. They are Chinese from China. Okay, they are not programmers, or in some sense they are illiterate. So when you talk about programming, you have to understand, like, they have no idea they don't know what is Google. Okay, they have heard of, oh, there's Google is some company. That's all. Because, like, typically the programmers, we don't understand the degree, the level of how average person, like, don't know what you are talking about. Like, they don't know there's a distinction of Wi-Fi and the phone network. Like like we programmers know, right? Phone is phone. Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi. It's different. I mean, you don't even have to know the technical details. At least they are different. But they don't get. They kind of, and not. They don't get. They don't. And you try to explain to them, it's impossible. It's like it's like trying to tell your mom to use emacs. Okay. You don't even begin. So they have to eat. They eat Chinese. They sometimes cook, and they cook for me, and otherwise I eat bread and milk typically, like the video I've shown, famous video like 7 years ago. So Bartholomew made a claim about a kitten. I don't know what's the context. uh Pajama, I'm laughing too much. I forgot the context. Okay, so don't remember the name. Delicious, yes, not really. I enjoy hearing your talk. Okay, uh, about everything. Andrea says search p5.sound.js. Yeah, okay. I don't know anything about it. Why is coding? So why are we talking about that? About curves, plane curves, something like that. So Andre says, why is coding trend? Why the coding trend didn't make a logarithmic frequency analyzer on p5.js? I don't know. Uh, Claudio says, "What's your preferred best general programming language?" Okay, that's Golang and Mathematica. I need to check out Mathematica. Okay, so how can you hate Unix? Okay, Iris, I I gave my opinion on that. Um, a lot. So I argue with Unix people a lot, and for me, it's no big deal. I mean, I don't, it's not, it's friendly argument. Okay, but I do realize I have noticed some people they don't take it that way. They, yeah, some of these Unix people, they don't take it that way. Um, for to me, it's like, okay, you present your opinion like these people, these hacker types on forums, they are not, they are not, they maybe you think they are, oh, they, I swear all the time. They don't swear. Sometimes you see on newsgroup they say, how can it possible? This is newsgroup. This is all the scientists and the engineers gather to discuss and solve problems. How could you, someone comes in and swear and like, like Sali, this is like out of the is crossing the line. No, it's not crossing the line. Go fuck themselves. You look at the way they talk, they flame each other all the time and swearing too. For example, Python versus Perl, or Lisp versus whatever. They fucking go cutting throat each other with each other all the time. Then you come up with someone saying, oh, this is a forum where scientists, engineers gather to solve problems. How idiotic can that be? I don't do that, So I usually do this in newsgroup, in any public forums. I never ever do it on a private or mailing list, some kind of more private place. I don't do that. For example, on the GNU Emacs dev mailing list, okay, that's a place where all the Emacs dev gather. They talk every day, about Emacs dev. And I've been there, 2 or 3 times, maybe 3 times total in total. I know what a lot of people are thinking. Oh, you are trying to, go there to troll. Nothing like that. I don't fucking do that. I don't like the concept of troll. I don't like, I'm rather, as many of you know me, kind of like FOMO. Like, I find it even annoying. Like, sometimes people start to, anyway, I don't troll. Okay, I don't like that concept. But I do. But of course, I know I'm swearing and I'm being dramatic often. And why do I do that? Because I fucking hate these hypocrites. The Unix philosophy, all these hypocrite. I fucking hate them. So like the Richard Stallman said, fighting fire with fire. That's his. What is that? That is the GPL. That's his philosophy. Why do you create a copyright, copyleft, a license? Why do you need it? If you are really for the good of humanity, just put it on open public domain. That's the law. That's a legal jargon. Public domain, where anyone, once you publish code, anyone can take it without attribution or do whatever with it. Public domain. That's great of humanity. If you are a great, ethical person, you do that, and you get no credit whatsoever. Whatever, it's like donation. When Google big shot or some Microsoft Bill Gates, they donate, but then the building is named after them because you need the name. You need a name, and also it's a tax exempt something. They have reasons, to donate. But typically, it's true. When you donate, you want your name there because that's part of the human thing. But if you want to argue about that, about this being good, the philanthropy, the best thing to do is donate anonymously. That you have a 1 million you want to donate. Just throw your money out. Nobody knows who about you. That if you want to argue, that is the best thing. So likewise, if you want, for free software, put your code in the public domain without your name. Just you can do that. That's not what people do. This today you have on GitHub all these major project. It's hard to find a name. Like they have a generic name for this. Even for example, Magic, the very popular Emacs package for doing Git. Okay, so Magic, so and tons of others, almost all projects. For example, the audio motion. Let's see, audio motion. Did it say who created it? Okay, so there's a license by this guy. Okay, so anyway, typically you go to this GitHub. You okay? Yeah, this guy actually has his name. But typically you go to this open source, you don't find the name. But is it true that they are truly anonymous? Truly good for humanity? No, they you don't find them is kind of like the convention, the tactic, but actually they are so eager in their resume in elsewhere, in some other way they are eager to say, oh, by the way, I'm the author of Magic. Okay, this happens across every major project. But by the way, Magic, I like the guy who created Magic, the maintainer for the past 5 or 10 years. I know him on Twitter. Sometimes we had exchange. I think he's a good guy. So yeah, he's on Twitter and so on. The He's a maintainer of Magic. So actually, we should stop. It's like what is this? Okay, so yeah, so that's it. One more question also, if you have posted, then that's it. How can you hate Unix? Yeah, so math.log 10. Okay, I think it's more about Unix philosophy hacker types. I don't think Mac OS would be based on Linux. Mac is not Unix in every way. It has, you could say the only thing Unix is the Mach kernel and well, yeah, okay. So you have the shell bag. It's like how you define Unix. Okay, actually, I wrote a poem. Actually, I need to show this one. This is important. Unix pestilence. Okay, okay. So when Mac OS come out, it's a big topic because everyone, Mac, Apple itself has advertisement about open source. They have a giant ad. I have it somewhere here. Okay, let me show you. So that's the topic I want to show you. They have a big advertisement. Basically say something. We are Unix, the most solid foundation in industry. The, they sell to you guys, who are Linux fans, Unix fans back then. And meanwhile, you see, there's a conflict of interest. On one hand, you are like pro free software foundation or open source. You are very much, a fanatic. Okay. On the other hand, you love Unix, Linux. Okay. But Apple, they are not, free software. They are not open source. So you don't, but then they are Unix. So you have this, uh, conflict. It's like there's a candy, whether you want to eat it. Every time you eat it, you get a shock. That's what happens. But anyway, so I was trying to find Mac OS. Okay, so Mac OS. Let me show you the article. Yeah, there it is, Mac OS 10. When it came out, there's okay, so I wrote a poem. I was fighting with the Mac fanatics. Okay, there's another thing. So you have open source fanatics, free software fanatics, false. Then you have the Unix fanatics, okay, or Unix Linux. Then you have the Mac fanatics. You see, these are different camp of peoples. They don't agree with each other, but sometimes they intertwine. So I was fighting with the Mac fanatics. So what are Mac fanatics? You probably know. You have some opinions for your own perspectives about the Mac fanatics people. They always have the latest Apple product. Expensive. They are typically well-to-do. They have money. They can buy things. Fighting with these Mac fanatics. So I wrote a poem back in 2002 when Mac OS X came out. So there it is. Apple OS X, one of those Unix, beauty and beasts, new Unix complex. I love Apple OS. I hate all Unix. Now with OS X, love, hate, a miss. The sea of fanatics, Unixes and open source, beavers and buttheads, making all the noises. Think differenters voices, clamoring all over places, beauty and Unix, marries in peace. In my dream OS, there is no Unix, beauty and elegance without fanatics. So anyway, so that's my poem about fighting with the macOS. There's an Apple ad I'd like to show you. I don't know if I linked here. So there's a essay on the question: Is Mac OS X Unix? That's a big dramatic topic. Everyone there's yeah, and there's also clickbait articles from this website. They are all talking about this. Oh, is Mac OS Unix? Because it's one of the critical question all the Unix fanatics need to know. They need to know, is Mac OS considered a Unix? Is it um, there it is, Apple's ad back in 2002. This is tickling the Unix fanatics. Sends other Unix boxes to dev null. Okay, if you are and this is Mac OS X in 2002. This is running, what is this? Three windows: grep, ls, and top. uh, you know so Apple is trying to get you open source fans to take you over to Apple land. Okay, that's that, and that's about it for today. uh, okay, thank you guys for watching. See you guys. If you like my stuff, donate, PayPal, Patreon stuff on I'm on my website. You can click, find it. So bye. Check. Okay, I'm still alive.